There is one company whose products have become so valuable that governments now compete to secure them before anyone else can. Its technology powers artificial intelligence, scientific research, national security, and industries worth trillions of dollars around the world.
Today, countries are racing to buy these processors because without them, building the future of artificial intelligence becomes almost impossible.
The world's newest technologies increasingly depend on one company that most people barely noticed until the AI revolution suddenly arrived.
What began as a gaming hardware business has quietly evolved into something far more powerful than almost anyone predicted.
The remarkable part is that none of this was the company's original plan. The biggest opportunity appeared almost by accident. Long before artificial intelligence dominated headlines, a small team of engineers was solving an entirely different problem for computer gamers. That decision would eventually reshape computing, transform artificial intelligence, and give one company influence once reserved for entire nations. The story began in 1993, when three engineers believed computers would soon need something far more powerful than ordinary processors. Most computers relied entirely on the CPU. NVIDIA believed another specialized processor could handle graphics dramatically faster. Their first customers were not governments or artificial intelligence companies. They were gamers searching for smoother, faster graphics. As video games became more demanding, NVIDIA quietly became one of the most important companies inside an industry that was growing faster every year. Success in gaming gave NVIDIA something even more valuable than revenue. It gave the company years of experience designing massively parallel processors.
Unlike traditional processors designed for one task after another, GPUs could perform thousands of calculations simultaneously.
Then NVIDIA made a decision so unusual that almost nobody outside the company understood why it mattered.
Instead of building graphics hardware alone, NVIDIA decided developers should be able to program its GPUs for entirely different kinds of work.
In 2006, the company introduced CUDA, a software platform that transformed graphics processors into powerful engines for scientific computing.
Researchers suddenly discovered they could solve problems in hours instead of days by moving their calculations onto NVIDIA's GPUs. Without realizing it, NVIDIA had quietly built exactly the kind of hardware artificial intelligence would someday depend upon. When artificial intelligence finally began improving, researchers already knew which hardware delivered the fastest results.
Then artificial intelligence exploded into the mainstream, and suddenly the hardware NVIDIA had been quietly building became the most valuable technology on Earth.
Almost overnight, companies around the world realized they all needed the same thing: more computing power than they had ever imagined.
And there was one problem. Almost everyone wanted NVIDIA's newest AI chips, but almost nobody could get enough of them. Cloud providers, startups, research labs, and even governments entered the same race, competing for a limited supply of AI processors.
Building artificial intelligence was no longer just about software. Whoever controlled the computing power would shape the future of the technology itself. Demand became so intense that NVIDIA's products started influencing investment decisions, national strategies, and global technology planning all at the same time. Countries that once competed for oil, rare metals, and energy were now competing for something entirely different: advanced AI computing. For the first time in history, one company's processors had become essential infrastructure for the next technological revolution. And this was only the beginning. Within just a few years, NVIDIA's value climbed so dramatically that it became one of the most valuable companies in history. But this story was never just about stock prices. Every new AI data center being built required the same critical ingredient: NVIDIA's processors.
Training modern artificial intelligence demanded thousands of GPUs working together as one enormous computer, and NVIDIA had already perfected exactly that system.
From medicine to robotics, from financial markets to scientific discovery, industries that had nothing to do with gaming suddenly depended on the same company. Competitors rushed to respond. Faster chips were announced, larger investments followed, but catching NVIDIA proved.
The real advantage was no longer hardware alone. Millions of developers had already built their software around NVIDIA's ecosystem.
Every new developer strengthened the platform, making it even harder for customers to switch somewhere else. Soon, artificial intelligence stopped being only a business opportunity. Governments began treating advanced computing as a matter of national security. As demand accelerated, access to advanced AI chips became a strategic advantage. Export rules, international agreements, and for decades, Nations competed for oil, energy, and natural resources. Now they were
Artificial intelligence had become more than a technology race. Governments now viewed advanced computing as a strategic national asset that could shape future economies. Building modern artificial intelligence required enormous computing power, and only a handful of companies on Earth could supply it at the necessary scale. One advanced AI model could require tens of thousands of GPUs working together continuously for weeks or even months. These processors were no longer accelerating only artificial intelligence. They were helping design new medicines, predict climate patterns. The world's largest technology companies began investing hundreds of billions of dollars to secure enough computing power before demand grew even higher. Every new generation of AI demanded even larger computing clusters, making advanced processors one of the most valuable resources in the technology industry. As countries expanded their AI ambitions, the competition quietly shifted from software to infrastructure.
Every breakthrough created demand for even greater computing power, strengthening the ecosystem that NVIDIA had spent decades quietly building. The question was no longer whether NVIDIA would lead the AI revolution. The real question had become, could anyone realistically catch them?
Success always attracts competition. As NVIDIA surged ahead, nearly every major technology company began searching for a way to challenge its dominance.
Billions of dollars poured into new AI chips, but building fast hardware turned out to be only half the battle.
The harder problem was software. Thousands of AI tools, research projects, and enterprise applications had already been built around NVIDIA's platform over many years. Changing processors often meant rewriting complex software, retraining engineers, and rebuilding entire AI workflows. By the time competitors accelerated their plans, NVIDIA had already built an enormous lead in hardware, software, and developer trust.
Even if a rival designed an excellent processor tomorrow, manufacturing millions of advanced chips quickly would become another enormous challenge. Building the world's most advanced AI processors requires manufacturing technologies that only a handful of companies possess.
Artificial intelligence depends on an incredibly complex global supply chain, where every delay can slow the next technological breakthrough. This is why the AI race is no longer decided by software alone. It depends on processors, manufacturing, supply chains, and that leads to an even bigger question. If NVIDIA designs the world's most important AI chips, who actually builds them? The most advanced AI processor is only an idea until someone possesses the technology capable of manufacturing of modern AI chips contain tens of billions of transistors packed into an area smaller than your hand, making them among the most complex products humanity has ever built. Manufacturing processors at this level requires extraordinary machines, extreme precision, and years of engineering experience that very few companies on Earth possess. Designing a revolutionary processor is only one chapter of the story. Turning that design into millions of working chips.
Every successful processor must survive months of manufacturing, testing, and validation before it ever reaches an AI laboratory or cloud provider. The moment new AI hardware becomes available, companies race to install it, because every additional processor increases their ability. What makes this technology so valuable is not the chip itself. It is everything those processors make possible across science, medicine, engineering, and countless industries.
Processor becomes the foundation beneath thousands of different innovations, many of which people use every day without ever realizing what powers them. This explains why governments increasingly discuss semiconductor strategy alongside energy, defense, and economic policy. Artificial intelligence may capture the headlines, but behind every breakthrough stands an invisible foundation.
The race is no longer about building faster computers. It is about building intelligence, and every breakthrough.
Each new generation of AI chips becomes exponentially more complex, requiring years of research before a single processor is ever manufactured. Artificial intelligence is quietly becoming the operating system behind modern civilization, touching industries far beyond technology itself.
Across the world, billions of dollars are flowing into AI infrastructure because nations understand that tomorrow's economic power depends on today's computing capacity.
Owning advanced processors is no longer enough. The true advantage belongs to those capable of deploying them at massive scale.
Every improvement in computing power unlocks larger models, better reasoning, and discoveries that were impossible only a few years earlier.
The conversation has shifted dramatically. Artificial intelligence is no longer viewed as a future technology. It has become critical infrastructure for the modern world.
From space exploration to healthcare, The same invisible computing foundation now supports innovations that once belonged only to science fiction. The next decade will not simply determine which company leads artificial intelligence. It may determine which nations lead the future itself.
The world's largest AI systems no longer depend on a single computer. They rely on thousands of processors. Moving information between thousands of processors fast enough is one of the hardest engineering challenges in modern computing, and NVIDIA spent years solving exactly that problem.
Modern artificial intelligence is no longer limited by brilliant ideas alone. It is limited by how much computing power the world can actually build.
That is why technology companies continue investing hundreds of billions of dollars into new AI infrastructure. Demand keeps growing faster than supply.
Every new AI breakthrough immediately creates demand for even larger computing clusters, turning processors into one of the most valuable strategic resources in the digital economy.
Relevance. Artificial intelligence is steadily moving beyond chatbots and software. It is beginning to reshape manufacturing.
As AI becomes more capable, governments increasingly see advanced computing not simply as an economic advantage, but as a matter of long-term national competitiveness.
One processor now represents far more than silicon. It represents scientific progress, industries.
History has repeatedly shown that every technological revolution creates a new foundation of power. The company that once built graphics cards for gamers now finds itself helping power the most important technological transformation of the.
Despite NVIDIA's extraordinary success, history suggests that no technology leader remains untouchable forever. Every dominant company eventually faces its greatest test.
Across the industry, competitors continue investing billions of dollars into new processors, faster software, and alternative AI platforms. Innovation rarely stands still. Every year brings new engineering breakthroughs, and today's leader must keep moving simply to remain ahead. Yet the demand for AI computing continues growing even faster than new competitors can realistically build enough hardware to supply it.
Now, NVIDIA's greatest advantage is not simply the processor itself. It is the complete ecosystem of software, developers, and infrastructure built over decades.
If artificial intelligence keeps growing at its current pace, the world may require several times more computing infrastructure before this decade is over.
The next chapter of artificial intelligence will not be written by one company alone. It will be shaped by researchers, engineers.
Whether NVIDIA remains number one or not, one fact already seems difficult to ignore.
Companies building today's computing infrastructure are quietly shaping tomorrow's economy, science, and national competitiveness in ways that few people fully appreciate. Very simple. NVIDIA may never become more powerful than nations themselves. But its technology has become important enough that
every major technological revolution eventually reaches a moment when its infrastructure becomes more important than the products built.
Most people see artificial intelligence through chatbots and apps. Very few ever see the extraordinary engineering quietly. The companies building AI infrastructure are not simply selling hardware. They are accelerating discoveries that could influence medicine, education.
The next generation may never notice the processors powering these systems. They will simply expect intelligent technology to exist everywhere around them. That is often how infrastructure works. The more essential it becomes, the less visible it appears to the people using it every day. The engineers designing tomorrow's processors are solving problems that may not become obvious to the rest of the world until many years from now. Whether those future breakthroughs come from America, Europe, or Asia, one reality remains unchanged. The race for computing power has only just begun. The story of artificial intelligence is no longer being written by software alone. It is increasingly being written by police. Every generation has one technology that quietly becomes the foundation for everything that follows. STEAM.
Artificial intelligence is only the visible layer. Beneath it lies an extraordinary chain of engineering that begins with a single piece of silicon.
Millions of people will create tomorrow's AI, but all of them will depend on the invisible infrastructure built years before their ideas ever exist.
The companies investing in computing today are not simply preparing for the next product launch. They are helping shape how entire economies will function in the decades ahead. Yet even NVIDIA cannot manufacture these processors by itself. Designing the future and physically building it are two completely different challenges. Behind every advanced AI chip stands an industrial process so precise that even microscopic imperfections can ruin months of engineering work. The real miracle is not only designing billions of transistors, it is manufacturing them reliably over and over again at a scale the world has never attempted before. This enormous chain stretches across the entire world, linking researchers, designers, manufacturers, and
Break one link in that chain, and the entire AI industry slows down. That is why every step matters just as much as the processor itself.
the future of artificial intelligence depends not only on brilliant software, but on an extraordinary manufacturing network that most people never even see.
For all the attention NVIDIA receives, another company quietly stands behind nearly every breakthrough, hidden far from the headlines yet impossible to replace.
And that company may be even more important than NVIDIA itself. Its factories manufacture the world's most advanced chips, yet most people have never heard its name. History often remembers the companies that create famous products. It rarely remembers the invisible companies that quietly make those products possible in the first place. Modern semiconductor manufacturing demands accuracy measured in billionths of a meter. At this scale, even the smallest mistake can destroy months of engineering effort.
Almost every breakthrough device begins with the same invisible foundation, an advanced semiconductor built with astonishing precision. Once those chips leave the factory, they begin a journey through one of the world's most sophisticated supply chains before finally reaching products used by billions of people. By the time artificial intelligence answers a simple question, years of engineering, manufacturing, and logistics have already worked together behind the scenes. The future is rarely created in one dramatic breakthrough. More often, it is built through thousands of small engineers. That invisible collaboration is what makes modern technology possible, connecting people who may never meet but who collectively shape the future of computing.
Artificial intelligence may dominate today's headlines, but tomorrow's breakthroughs will still depend on the same quiet engineering hidden beneath the surface.
Technology often appears magical from the outside, but behind every miracle lies extraordinary engineering that most people never have the chance to see. And perhaps that is the most fascinating part of this entire story. The world's biggest technological revolution may take. The technologies that change history rarely appear overnight. They begin quietly, inside laboratories where, long before the world notices a breakthrough, countless invisible decisions have already determined whether that breakthrough will ever become reality. Artificial intelligence is changing what humanity can accomplish, but every achievement still depends on the invisible infrastructure built beneath the surface. Most people will never see the processors driving these systems. They will only experience a world that becomes faster, smarter, and more connected every year.
Perhaps that is the greatest achievement of all. The most important technologies often become so deeply integrated.
Whether NVIDIA remains the dominant force for the next decade or faces stronger competition, one thing already seems certain. Artificial intelligence has permanently changed the direction of computing. The next generation will inherit technologies that are being engineered today, often by teams whose names the public may never even know. History rarely belongs to those who simply predict the future. More often, it belongs to those who quietly spend years building it. That quiet persistence transformed a gaming company into one of the most influential technology businesses on Earth.
But every remarkable processor begins somewhere else, somewhere far less visible.
Technology rarely changes the world through a single invention. It changes the world through thousands of invisible improvements that quietly compound over many years. Every transistor represents another small engineering victory. Together, billions of them become the foundation of modern artificial intelligence. Behind nearly every major AI breakthrough lies the same invisible truth. Extraordinary software is only possible because extraordinary hardware exists beneath it.
The AI revolution is no longer something waiting in the future. It is already unfolding around us.
Whether history remembers this moment as the beginning of a new computing era remains to be seen.
But yet one mystery still remains. NVIDIA designs some of the world's most advanced processors, but another company quietly turns those designs into reality. Without this manufacturer, many of the processors powering today's AI revolution would never exist. It operates with
Its factories build processors for the world's biggest technology companies, making it one of the most strategically important businesses on it.
In our next documentary, we'll uncover the company that manufactures the world's most advanced chips, the silent giant standing behind NVIDIA.
If you thought NVIDIA was the most important company in artificial intelligence, wait until